Lamar Jackson saying, I want to be a champion. I want to be a champion does have Gematria of the Baltimore Ravens. The first thing that stands out. But basically, something's going on. The Ravens are certainly barking right now. John Harbaugh has said that Lamar Jackson is the greatest quarterback ever, and this reminds me of Joe Flacco saying he was elite, and then he went on to win the Super Bowl that year. He called himself elite before the start of the season that the Ravens won the Super Bowl. He called himself elite. I remember it. I will show you Flacco. Oh, maybe this is it. I don't know if this is before or after the contract. 2014 was the Seahawks. So there it is. I think I'm the best quarterback. And when Flacco said this, he went on to win the Super Bowl, because I remember 2013, the 49ers, they lost to the Ravens. That was the year of that Super Bowl. So it just really reminds me, going back to the Joe Flacco quote. So John Harbaugh, he had too much of the shrooms the other night. He thought he was the greatest quarterback ever. Certainly not the greatest quarterback ever, but an electric quarterback like Lamar Jackson is going to win the Super Bowl this year. A 58-19 regular season record, by the way. He's played a total of... his first regular season game would be his 78th regular season game of his career. I think the city of New Orleans is Gematria 73. I think city of New Orleans by itself. Now, 78 is also the Gematria of Patrick Mahomes. He's facing off against Patrick Mahomes on the opening night of the season. Is this the plan? The amount of time from Lamar's comments to February the 9th, 196 days? That's the Grand Master Plan in Gematria. We'll certainly find out if it is the master plan. But again, with what I've said about the Ravens, these comments really have sounded the alarm. But 1 month and 8 days from Lamar's comments to the beginning of the season, ending included, and Louisiana's the 18th admitted state, and Lamar is 18, up against the defending champions, the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl at Vegas. And I do like the Ravens to lose to Kansas City again in the opening week of the regular season. His 2-4 record in the postseason. He'll be 6-4 in the playoffs if he wins the Super Bowl. We're going to have our second black president in American history, Kamala Harris, born in 1964. First black president since Barack Hussein Obama. And the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964. Civil rights is 64. So Lamar Jackson is going to have a 6-4 record in the postseason when he wins the Super Bowl. The 49ers were the last opponent for the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Kamala's from San Francisco, and of course, the Ravens' last championship occurred against San Francisco. So that's the San Francisco 49ers connection of Kamala Harris with the Ravens' next Super Bowl appearance, because their last Super Bowl appearance, it occurred against the 49ers, is the distinction that we have to make. The Ravens lost on that day. The amount of time to Lamar's comments would be 6 months and a day. See the video at the end, because there's a lot of 6 months and 1 day. There's a lot of 61 coding with Baltimore, because I remember I have to rewatch the videos I made on Lamar Jackson, before and after the playoffs. But the Detroit Lions is 61, and Baltimore used to be the Cleveland Browns, and they'll be 3-0 in Super Bowls 3-for-3 because they originated from Cleveland. Cleveland's the 3-for-3 Gematria for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl this year. 39 days end day to the start of the season after Kamala says he wants to be a champion. Kamala's Gematria 39. And the 12 is going to be the Ravens' next title 12 years later. And this has a lot of civil rights in 49ers Gematria. Lamar's comments to his birthday, January the 7th, Barack Hussein Obama, 163. 49ers, 163. The Ravens' last opponent in the Super Bowl. Barack Hussein Obama is Gematria Jackson, Lamar Jackson in the Superdome. You see in reverse. Lamar believes that patience is the key, that he has to be patient. Only a few quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl in the past few years. A lot of people haven't won. I'm focusing on me. He certainly feels like he's not desperate, that he's patient. He's going to let the moment come to him. Patience is Gematria Jackson. 44 is also Harris in reverse. And Obama was president 44 years after MLK's assassination. Yeah, I wonder what's the amount of time from Lamar Jackson's comments. Well, okay, Tom Brady's born August the 3rd, okay. But Tom Brady made his debut against the Lions, and I certainly do like Detroit on the NFC side. In the Tom Brady video, you have to see at the end too. You're next, says Tom Brady. I agree. When he says he's next, he means you're the next quarterback to win their first Super Bowl of their career. That's what he really means. What about the entire quote? Verbatim. Patience the key. Or better yet, and this is why the Ravens' first win is happening against the Raiders. Because Kamala's from Oakland. Lamar has 58 wins in the regular season. Oakland 58. The last full-blooded black quarterback to attempt to win the Super Bowl was Cam Newton until he lost to Peyton Manning. I think Cam Newton's Gematria 61 is going to tie into this. Black Panther Party at Oakland. Cam Newton playing the Super Bowl at the Bay Area. And Kamala Harris is the Oakland native. So this is why Lamar Jackson is going to beat the Raiders for the first win of the season. September 15, let's talk about that day. I want to go from that day to September the 15th. I mean, it would be 49 days and they included. Kamala Harris, the 49th vice president in American history. Kamala Harris is Gematria 49. When you include the end day. 6 weeks and 6 days would be Gematria Baltimore Ravens by itself from the time of his comments, Lamar's comments. Baltimore Ravens 66, entitled 66, we're at the Caesars, Superdome, Caesars, Gematria 66. I think it's been 66 years since the Lions have played in a championship game, they said after they lost to the 49ers. And the statistics for that game will connect to the Super Bowl and to the election. So you get an early preview of the election. It's not supposed to be the main idea of the video, but then it came up in my mind. But these comments are not coincidence. They have a lot of meaning behind them. The Super Bowl was, what's the amount of time from the Super Bowl to the time that the Chiefs won to the day that he made the comments? Okay, 24 weeks, kind of like 24 is Gematria Lions, 169. This requires a little bit more investigation. Well, What's the amount of time from that day to Kamala Harris's birthday? I want to start out with that. First Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 35. Tom Brady's also Gematria 35. The Tom Brady angle. Loses to number 15, but 1 month and 5 days later is Kamala's birthday. It doesn't really line up very well. I think the Raiders game is going to line up well with the election. And look at 51 days to the election, and Kamala's the prosecutor is going to win the election. 51 days from the time of the first win over the Raiders. You know, because that Oakland connection is Kamala's birth city. Oakland is also Gematria of Doug Williams' last Super Bowl victory, and he was the last full-blooded black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. That last event was Super Bowl 22. Oakland is also Gematria of Baltimore. Oakland, the reverse is 41. Baltimore, and the reduction is 41. How about Electoral College Day? That's when it technically becomes official. The certification of the votes. 3 months and 2 days, kind of like Obama, the last black president, Gematria 32. 3 months, 3 days when we include the end day. It's kind of got some masonry connotation with it. A title game is 21 weeks later from week 2. Title Gematria 21, so this baby will probably last 21 weeks for the Baltimore Ravens. A 17-week run to the title, kind of like Doug Williams, number 17, John Harbaugh's 17th season, that kind of thing. Well, I certainly have to rewatch all of the videos I did because that's a lot of material, a lot of stuff in between. So I'll certainly have to rewatch all of the NFL coverage that I kind of broke down long before the beginning of the season. The amount of time from Lamar's comments to his birthday is 5 months and 9 days. I remember his first full season as the starter. Opening week over by his birthplace of Pompano Beach, the Ravens scored 59 points in that game. The Superdome is Gematria 59. And this would be 100. This is Lamar Jackson's birthday. 23 weeks, 23 weeks to his birthday. I attribute that to Tom Brady. Brady's Gematria 23. Kind of like Super Bowl 59. His first win of the year is the 59th win of his career. I think the Super Bowl should connect in a way to the first win of the season. 7 months and 4 days from the day of the Super Bowl to September the 15th. 217 days. 7 months and 4 days would be Gematria Raiders. The Ravens beat the Raiders. That amount of time from the Super Bowl, from the amount of time that the Chiefs won. The city of New Orleans by it. And the city of New Orleans is 93. I think that's the 93 connection that we need to make with that election reference I typed in a second ago. But I think New Orleans, Louisiana is the connection I need to make. Maybe city of New Orleans, Louisiana by itself. Gematria 217. The 217 days from the Super Bowl to the Ravens' first win of the year. Now, what's the amount of time from the elimination to their next win would be 33 weeks later. And 33 is, of course, Cameron Newton. The closest that we have gotten to seeing a full-blooded black quarterback win the Super Bowl. Panthers 213 reverse. Black Panther Party is also Gematria 74. That's linked up with the first win of the season. That's 213. That's not 231. This is going to be linked up with Huey P. Newton. Huey is Gematria 59. That 5 months and 9 day duration I spoke about. Huey Newton is Gematria Prosecutor. That 51-day duration I broke down a second ago. Huey P. Newton, 58 prior Super Bowls. This is going to be the Lamar Jackson Super Bowl. This reminds me of these comments. The John Harbaugh, he's the best quarterback in the game. He'll be recognized as the greatest quarterback ever deployed in the history of the NFL. His comments are echoing Joe Flacco. Still growing is Gematria Baltimore Ravens. Still growing. That 6 months, 6 day duration that is no longer visible. But better yet, I think this is going to be linked better with the actual inauguration day. 4 months, 5 days. Lamar's 45. New Orleans 45. The 4 months, 5 days from the Ravens' first win of the season to the time of Kamala's inauguration. 18 weeks is Lamar Jackson. Lamar's Gematria 18. I'm not sure under 127 is just yet, but I'm hopeful that I can diagnose exactly what it is. But it's also the Raiders that's Gematria 53, and the Raiders is Gematria the 163-day duration that we spoke about. 163 days from Lamar to his birthday, 163 days, and they included first win of the year over the Raiders. Kamala Harris is Gematria of the Raiders. The Raiders did have the first female executive, so all these Raiders things are connected to the Ravens' first win of the year over the Raiders.